Welcome, everybody. Hey, Chris. Hey, Laura. Laura, that's just cheating. Well, it's after midnight and I am Mama. The cafe is now open. But where are my guests, I hear you ask? Well, one of my guests is poorly sick, so we've sent her to bed. And we're having gremlins with my other guest. So we're going to see if we can work out those gremlins. And then we can get on and look at today's news and give you our perspectives and you can share yours. Oh, well, Laura, I'm happy to give you the 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1 win today because you are poorly and you deserve it. So we'll see if Summer can join. But when she joined earlier, I couldn't hear her. So she could hear me fine, but I couldn't hear. Protest poster, Chris. I like that. Everybody, if you're not familiar with our Discord, please, you are very welcome over there. Anyone who's watching this after we've gone live who would like information about our Discord group where we just go hang out, please just DM me or Chris Palomino and we will hook you right up. There's only the three of us, so there's not much point me saying put your name in the chat if you want to be part of our Discord, because we already are, all of us. So I'm going to try and cancel Summer and invite her again and see if anything happens. Because, technology and stuff. Send Summer an invite and see if there she is. Yeah, but I don't want her there, Chris. I want her here. There's not good enough. Yes, it is very nice at Discord. But yeah, there's not much point us putting the Discord link in the chat because there's only us here and we're already all there. So anybody who wants our Discord link to our wonderful server made by our very own Chris Palomino, please just drop me a DM or Chris and we will hook you right up. So Summer, tell me what to do. Tell me if I should kick off or I should wait. She is our officer in charge. She is very much our officer in charge. Hey, Karma, welcome. Come in. Grab bag, adult beverage, milky drink. You know the drill. We haven't even started yet. We're trying to rein in the techno gremlins who are spoiling our fun today. Because it's not much of a mama's meeting with only mama here. Although, I guess that's all you need for a mama's meeting, just a mama. And then the rest of you can join in. I don't think your link would work, Laura, because I cancelled you. Hey, Karma. Could try adding you again. Why don't we try adding you? Ooh, where's it gone? And then see what happens. And then at least we'll know whether the gremlins are my end or Summer's end. That would be probably a useful thing to know. So I've sent Laura an invite just to see if they're my gremlins or they're Summer's gremlins. Because unfortunately, I am not our tech girl. There's Summer.
I'm so sorry. I am going to.
But I still can't hear her.
Hang on.
Why can't I hear her?
I have no idea.
Do you think it's my end?
It's my phone.
Not Luma. Try joining.
Hello?
I've invited you, and then we'll see if it's a problem my end.
Hello?
You can hear her. I can hear.
I
It
can
sounds like it is a problem my end.
I
it
had to
says when I say "hello, hello," my phone tells me the audio is on.
Could it
I hear
be?
Summer. I hear Summer.
Somebody type something in the chat for me to tell me how to
Mama,
fix this.
can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Karma can hear
I
you,
can hear
Summer.
you. I can hear
Okay, so I hear both of you, but
Why
listen,
can't I?
you can't hear Summer? Mama, can she hear
no.
me?
Oh, I can hear everything now.
Oh, good.
Oh, both of us?
Yeah, everything.
Okay, Summer, make sure she can hear you. And then
Yep.
I'm
Can you
gonna
hear
tap
me?
out.
Yep, I can hear Summer.
10
Yep,
four.
go on. You go
Awesome.
back to bed, Laura.
Let me see if I can get out of here without canceling the whole damn thing. Oh.
I can boot you out if you want.
It's been
Can you
that
boot
kind of
me
day,
out? Boot me
ladies.
out, baby.
It's
I'll
Give
been
boot
me the
you
that
out.
kind of day.
boot.
Right.
Thanks.
Remove. There she goes. I'm so sorry about that. It looks like the gremlins were my end all along. And
Well, I'm not actually sure that that's the case because my computer won't even let me get out of the preview mode. So I'm just gonna go on my phone because you click a button and I'm in and it's no problem. So I'm sorry
amazing.
I'm gonna hold it as still as I can, people. I am so sorry if it moves around.
We're good. We're here and we have got some things to talk about, haven't we?
We have a lot to talk about now with this all going on. We'll have to just go over a little bit of an intro. There's been a lot going on today, and it's sort of when Mom and I were talking a little bit earlier, trying to kind of get our thoughts together. This initially was just going to be what Canada is doing to try to help Canadians get out of the Middle East, and what Mama's gonna and she is, and so am I, gonna go over a little review of what the US is doing and what the UK is doing, just so that everyone can have an idea of the range of things that are going on as a result of the war. But it kind of brings into light the chaos that has been created all at the behest of one person. Well, that's not exactly true. There's a whole in any production, which is exactly what this is. He had 4 years to plan exactly how this is his movie. This is his That's why he's so in love with the military and how he can just snap his fingers and suddenly there's a strike and look at all the bombs go. It's like watching a movie. Those are things that he has said, or at least the gist of things he has said since he started bombing things in this past year. And there's been a lot of those instances.
Yes, but we need to scroll right down to the bottom of the credits for all the names of all the people who are behind this.
So it brought me to how I felt when we all heard and the news broke and we were kind of all kind of chatting and different everyone's coming in because everyone's excited that um the the puppy murdering human whatever she is was fired, which isn't true. She was taken from this space on the chessboard and she was put over into this space for the production. And I also noted that it was for North America. So, Canada's gonna have to deal with the evil witch, it seems like, as the time passes. So, I felt like it was a manipulation rather than a celebration, and I didn't wanna take
Wow.
away anyone else's celebration because I so understand how we need to celebrate these little wins, because if we stop celebrating the little wins, we won't have the energy to keep fighting against the regime.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I do understand it is a manipulation, and one of my deepest concerns was this. The gentleman, and I'm not great with names, and I don't care to learn names of people who I believe draw from darkness more than light, right? So I don't really care what his name is, but the person that's coming in,
Mark Wayne Mullen.
yep, he's coming in. He's a friend of that family, first of all. Secondly, he's had 10 years in Congress now to develop the capacity to speak a language where he can manipulate with far greater, like, think, um, the guy who blocked all of the Senate, confirmations for uh, sorry, for the liberal, you call them, I'm losing my words. We call them the Liberal Party, but you guys call them
Labour Party?
no, 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 in the US.
Oh,
Yes,
in the
but
US.
in the
Democrat.
US. Democrats, thank you. Don't know why I could possibly lose that word, but I did. Yeah. So, like Mitch McConnell, that's the name, who
Yes.
just think about that kind of evil where it's just quiet lurking in the background and you just can't get something done that legally and constitutionally should be done. That
Yeah.
is the kind of obstruction you're going to see. Right? So my concern for this particular nomination for this role is this is all pre-planned. This is all part of the script. It's time to take her out so there's a distraction. The war's going a little bit sideways. There was no planning for the human aspect of things. He could give a rat's crap. He started bombing as he was having a gala at his whatever you want to call it, old people's resort, whatever it is for him, his golf course.
Yeah.
Okay? He's in Florida. He couldn't even be bothered to be at the White House when he's declaring war, knowing that he's going to take American military lives, knowing that there are going to be innocents that are killed in a war because that's just what happens when you start bombing things,
Yeah.
right? There are going to be people who are killed who were not there by their own will to begin with, because the regime that they're attacking, of course, is just as evil, if not more so. So there was no planning. There was no care whatsoever. It's just all part of the chaos. And part of it is, I'm going to keep Netanyahu to jail. He's going to keep me out of jail. And this is all part of our little plan. And that's why no other allies were involved. That's why this is going to happen whenever he wants it to happen. He's itching, as his friend who had lunch with him as a couple of months ago said, to attack Iran, to
Yeah.
start a war.
I'm starting to think that all of this administration are absolutely expendable, and it's just a matter of time and timing and optics. And there's a good excuse from her poor performance in Congress. And it's quite convenient to turn the attention back towards, look what we're doing to make things better, learning from our mistakes. And if we don't think someone's doing a good job, we get in there and we sort them out. Don't look over there where we're killing innocent little children.
So, what I want to do is not to bring anyone down, because that's just not going to be very effective at us keeping our esteem and our impetus to fight the hollow man. This is a hollow man, and honestly, I believe he's very close to falling. If he can convince you through this theater that he has put on, where people and human lives are at stake, which is all this is to him, it's just a theater of a very, very mentally ill man, in my view,
Yeah.
a very evil, mentally ill man at that, without compassion, without that any sense of moral correctness or legal anything, except that the laws he is allowed to break the laws because that's what gives him power. Like, he's nuts. He's
Yeah.
absolutely nuts, but he is a very charismatic leader, which is how he's got that, if not for some corrupt practice in the last election. And I'm not gonna make a comment one way or the other. The election is over. It is what it is. It was conceded. We have to figure out what happened, of course, so that it doesn't happen again. But we have to move forward as we are, not as we wish to be. Like, we must live in this moment as it is, not as we dream it to be. We have to work for that dream to be reality now.
Yeah. I'm hoping that we can, and I say we, I mean the Democrats in Congress, because they really are the only ones who can do anything until the midterms, assuming the midterms go ahead. I'm hoping that by keep pushing, keep picking at these scabs, they can force him into flicking over that first domino, and all the rest will start to fall. He's been forced, for whatever reason, whether it's the optics going on in the Middle East that he wants to turn our attention away from, but he has responded to Congress calling out poor performance in one of his officials by relieving that official of their position.
Mhm.
It's going to be hard if the Democrats do the right thing, keep bringing these ineffective staffers into Congress to answer the hard questions. It's going to be then so much harder to justify keeping them in their jobs. and there's only so many he can keep ferreting in to replace them with. And every time he does, I think it makes him look weaker. What do you think?
I do. Here's the thing about hollow men is they're hollow,
Yeah,
right? Once you start pulling away the straw, there's nothing there. So the courts seem to be the one pillar that's kind of half leaning holding up, right?
certainly the
You
lower
you
courts.
are you are a few months away from the second pillar getting its strength back, at least in one of the houses, like, sorry, one of the chambers
Yeah,
of Congress. I sometimes cross-reference. We're talking about 3 different countries here, even though we're focusing on the US right now.
yeah.
I'm from Canada. I
No,
usually have my stuff straight. I probably know more about American elections than a lot of Americans, but I do lose my language sometimes because we've been talking about the UK today, we've been
yes,
talking about the US today, and we've been talking about Canada today, and we all label our pillars, if you will, differently,
we do.
right? So, I apologize to anyone who's offended.
No, I'm sure they're not. I was just looking in the chat, and apparently, Aaron Parnas has announced that the DOJ have released the interviews from the Trump accuser they were hiding. I
Wow.
am so straight into those Epstein files when we finish today. Hello, Ahmed. Welcome. Come,
Yes.
join us. Grab a comfy, cozy chair or a beanbag. Make yourself comfortable. Grab a milky drink or an adult beverage. Hello, Gregoire. It's lovely to see you here. New faces.
It is.
And we've just been chatting about the big news of the day and how to feel about it, how to right size it. Because I have to confess, I was a little bit giddy when I heard that Krusty Gnome was out. That did make my afternoon. But it's always this way with the Trump administration. Everything is optics. Everything is supposed to look
It's
a
scripted.
certain way and make you react a certain way. And you expressed it to me in private beautifully. What did you describe Trump's all of these actions that he does for us?
Well, it's his movie.
Yeah, but there was the thing.
Oh, the manipulation or throwing a ball.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So the analogy that I said is he always throws a ball and everyone always chases it. Today, the ball was Noam. Nothing really happened to Noam. He's removed her from a position that he put her in, that she was complicit in undertaking. All of that was scripted. Everything was intended. The training of the officers to violate the law, to violate the Constitution, to absolutely wreak havoc in Minnesota. And Minnesota, of course, because of um, the leader of the state and the previous election and all of his comments about Trump. Of course, Trump is never going to forget an insult, so his people has to suffer. That's where that was executed on. So that's how I see that playing out. He threw a ball today by taking one person out who has been like Cruella Deville, literally on her own, by her own doing, from her own book. She is Cruella Deville, and he put her up front because he figured, well, if you can shoot your 14-month puppy in the head, you can do this, right? Like,
yeah,
you don't have a heart, so
exactly.
perfect. You're perfect for this job. Now he needs someone to come in, and he needs someone who's intelligent, who has the ear of Congress, who has the ear of Senate, like somebody very, very MAGA, who's been very, very successful in a very, very red state,
Yeah,
who is a senator who is likely gonna not there's not a whole lot of risk that that particular state is ever gonna give a federal senator like go blue. That would, I mean, I know Chris has said that, you know, these days he's done so much to harm his own brand in all of this madness
and it's
that you
Oklahoma, is it?
shouldn't count out, and you should really support blue um uh Democratic candidates in that state now to, fight for that seat if that's even something that can happen.
Yeah,
Because, the reality is if that can happen or it does happen down the road, Chris is right. We don't know who he's messed with, how he's messed with them, how that's changed the calculus, if the spell has broken, or if they realize that, yes, I'm conservative, but that is not what I am. And he has gone against literally everything he said he would do. Now the gas prices are going up. Now the grocery prices are going to go up more. Now he's spending all of our money on a war that we didn't want to have, that he said we wouldn't have, that he's the man of peace, literally begging and stealing peace prizes from people, holding literally their government over their head with the US military's strength. Seriously, everything that goes against democracy and what I have always known as a Canadian that the United States of America stands for. I mean, why I drove my children across my country and your country to get to, and when I say your country, I'm talking to some of our listeners because a lot
Yeah,
of them are US citizens. And to see the White House and to respect that, um, the grace and the restraint that comes with that power and the beautiful balance that the restraint and that power must maintain. And it's a difficult power because, we either um, subscribe to our darkness or we subscribe to our light, and we have to make the decision to actually act on our light as opposed to our darkness.
absolutely.
So he doesn't have that in him, I don't think. I don't know if that was trained from childhood. I don't know if it's mental illness. I sincerely don't really care. All I wanna know is how to get him out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just want to say hi to Tamara. Welcome. And I think the thing to remember is it's all sleight of hand with this administration. Don't be tricked into trying to follow the ball under the cups because it's in his hand the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're chasing the ball that he gives you because he realizes there is no choice now, it's time for a scene change,
Yes,
right?
exactly, exactly.
He produces somebody who's got the
Evil.
got the capacity with which to, obstruct you in an even more menacing and effective way than Cruella did.
Yeah,
So, just understand that, yes, there's a little bit of a win today, we all hate her and for very, very, very good reasons. I mean, when you have the capacity to do right and you do wrong, and you're in that level of power and leadership, everyone in the world is watching, not just the citizens of the United States, but the citizens in the United States have a reason, no matter what party they come from, to be outraged by what was
yeah,
going on with and is going on with how ICE is being trained, the over 200 court orders that are being just ignored because they don't have to follow the law. Like, what are you going to do to me? Kind of attitude.
yeah,
All of those things really are gonna come down to the people and the numbers that come out to vote. And if if you're far right and you're really mad and you really can't vote Democratic, stay home.
yeah, absolutely.
Stay home.
Wow.
Because then at least he understands from silence. Sometimes silence speaks volumes.
And he needs the adulation. And if he's not getting it, then I think that's one of the best ways to push him into making a mistake.
Yeah.
But we shall watch this space. Hi, Laurie. Nice to see you. Ahmed makes a good point, which just got me to thinking Trump Circle appointees are not about being qualified at all.
Mm-mm.
The irony is they're all DEI hires. These people could not get a
Yes.
job anywhere else.
Well, no, they're EI hires. No,
Yes.
they're not any of that. They're just, um, r ridiculous decisions and choices. They're puppets,
Yeah.
right? And he's the puppet master, and if it's not that way, you don't have a job. And they're willing to sell their soul to the devil for the position and the fame, and, I mean, she got, like, a how many billion-dollar, dress up Barbie photo shoot out of it? Like, seriously. That's all she like,
Disgusting.
they're kind of made the same way, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. My point is not that there's any diversity, equity, or inclusion going on. Just that he's ended up with a load of people who are completely unqualified for the roles, which is exactly their reasoning for abandoning DEI, because we were just getting people of the right colour, but not the right caliber, which is just insane. So now you've got people with absolutely no character, but they're,
Exactly.
they're, they're willing to do your bidding. So
I hope that the world, not just the United States, because this is not just a United States problem. This is stuff that's going on across the globe, and we feel it in Canada as well. I hope that the world can learn from what's going on right now, and instead of going from like left and right, we can go back to what's right and wrong.
yeah,
We can go back to ethics, and we can go back to the rule of law, and we can go back to
absolutely.
maybe disagreeing about how things work out sometimes, but understanding that the other side is going to disagree about some things too.
I
Um,
feel like we used
Fairness.
to have a common goal, but different directions on how to get there. But now we're going two different places, or maybe I should say we're going two different places.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so
So
watch this space, see how it's a bit of rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, isn't it?
it is. I just want to just we touched on something earlier, Mama, that really I think we need to just it's a serious moment, and it's one that isn't going to be a surprise to anyone, but also because Homeland Security and this new gentleman with the two first names all in one with no space.
Because his
Sorry.
mama didn't love him enough
I
to pick
don't
this
I
one.
sincerely don't like giving notoriety to people,
No,
right?
I hear you. We've
Okay,
said
like
his name. We don't need to say it again.
right. So I'm not stupid. I'm just being a little bit silly. But my concern, because he's in charge of Homeland Security and he has the chops with which to communicate with both Congress, because he was there for 7 or 8 years and he was in the Senate for 3 years. He understands exactly what the lay of the land is in that pillar. Now he's going to work for the big man in a place that is setting up concentration camps across the United States of America. What I am concerned with is he is going to know how to, well, shut down that pillar, Congress, to some degree. And there isn't going to be the oversight that is necessary. And my concern also is with the timing of this move. The election isn't until November. And the speed at which they're moving and acquiring these warehouses for human beings is unbelievable for government. Like, it's just absolutely, like, record speed. This has been planned for 4 years in the absence of well, when Joe Biden was president. And they're on top of everything. I mean, the contracts are being given to people, and they're registering corporations 8 days before $122 billion contracts or $120 million contracts are being issued. Of course, they're all connected to the people who we're talking about right now,
Yeah.
and those people are all connected to each other. This is a small circle, right? The Epstein class, you might call it.
Yeah.
And right now they're looking at, creating warehouses for human beings, concentration camps. I just have very deep concerns, and I think that the people need to be all over that man. They need to be all over what's going on in those spaces, because there's not a lot of noise going there, because he's created a war and a distraction. He's created a war where I don't know, been a few times before in history recently that there's been wars created to, I don't know, to affect whatever someone's interests are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's insane. But the chat is great today. There's some fantastic points people are making. Um, Jailing voters, is that what the camps are for? I
He worries that I think they're to intimidate anyone of
Yeah,
color or of a democratic voting, um, to persuade them not to vote. I hope that that what happened in Minnesota happens, not that anyone gets hurt, that's not what I mean. I hope, though, that the people aren't quieted by that threat, But Igor, I'd have no doubt that that is part of the plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris says, can we say money laundering? And I don't think that's hyperbolic.
Oh, there's so much crime. There's so much crime. Like as
Yeah,
a
exactly.
former
Why
detective,
do we have to limit
I'm
it to money laundering?
as a former detective, my head explodes with the amount of criming going on from like murder, like on up from murder. There's some serious reconciling that's going to need to happen once there is some more order that is obtained. And that's going to be years in the making. There's going to be
Yeah,
an election, hopefully in November, and then there's going to be one 2 years after that, unless there's something that can be done in that election that causes um, there to be a proper impeachment and a proper verdict, because honestly this should never have happened. That last like when you incite an insurrection to your country as a former leader, there should be nothing but a jail cell left for you.
absolutely. I think
That's the way it
sometimes
works in the world, except there.
it's just so serious and so dark. Sometimes we have to find the points of light just to keep plodding forward. And we do need to keep moving forward. That's what we were talking about before, finding that path forward. And there is always a way. Sometimes it's not the most direct way. But I suppose we do need to get on to the rather large Iran-shaped elephant in the room. And in particular, it might be a nice place to start with the Canada perspective, because Tamara in the chat was asking about Carney's stand on the war in Iran and where his support is in terms of the action that's going on so far.
I think when I take his personality, having watched him give a lot of speeches, and he is very annoyed with Donald Trump right now. I mean, he has created an environment where around the world, allies that have come to his aid and or to the aid of the United States. I say his because I'm very sensitive as to not cross reference Donald Trump's regime with anyone, like any American citizen who's working really hard, at least 60% of the country, to change these dynamics. So, as
Absolutely.
a Canadian, I don't want to see the United States of America in any way except the way I've seen it my whole life, and the people in it as amazing as what I've known them to be my whole life, right?
And
So,
that's why we're here, because we love America. We love Americans and we hate to see what's going on. And we are very conscious that the American people are standing on the front line of all our democracies. And if we can be there, bigging them up, making their voices louder, then that for me, that's the least I
so
can do.
getting back to Carney's response, there's a couple of things that I took from it. I'm not going to go over exactly what he said. I can't remember exactly what he said. But what I got from it was that he understands that the Iranians cannot go nuclear. And he does, like, they have been a tyrannical regime that have killed, like, absolutely without conscience,
Yeah.
across the world. And there's just, including in their own region. So he has absolutely no love in his heart for that whatsoever. But he was not consulted. That's his words. He was not consulted in any way about this war. So now we have 3,000 Canadians in Iran who can't get out. We have 2,000 Canadians that have reported through the mechanisms that they can report that want to get out. They are trying to hold airspaces and reserve um, seating in airplanes and flights in the regions that they can get to. The problem for there's only 72 people of those 3,000 in Iran who have reached out to the Canadian consulate or the Canadian government through the
Wow.
means that they've put out. But the reason may be because they shut down the internet and they can't
Oh God, yes, of course.
it's not safe for them to go by land because there's like 1,000,000 um, soldiers of sort, if whatever you wanna call them in Iran. So
And the
going
telecommunications
yeah.
network, so they can't even ring a helpline.
So the best thing that well, the worst thing that could happen is that the Canadians and other people from other parts of the world who are trapped in, particularly from Western countries, in the Middle East right now, particularly in Iran specifically, is that if they're captured, they will be tortured, and it will be a public spectacle because that's exactly what that regime does.
Yep,
So
held as hostages for negotiations.
exactly. So the government and Americans, I mean, I'm going to leave that to you, but we're all facing the same threat if you're in that region. And that threat is pretty serious. They can't even give you guidance if you're there on how to if it is even safe for you from where you are to get to where you need to go in order to get one of those flights or to even be safe. Because by land, they have no idea where anyone is. So
Yeah,
you're kind of trapped, and that kind of trapped, I mean, they're gonna find you. I mean,
yeah,
if you understand how those, regimes work, they'll just kill people until they find every one of the 3,000 Canadians that have been listed as being there, or Americans, or anyone else.
yeah. And
So
Tamara points out accurately, as far as I can tell, that so we don't know the status of the other 2,900 Canadians, and if maybe there'd been some consultation with, say, partner governments so they could have put things in place to begin with. Or we spoke about it the other day when this all kicked off. If Trump had had a plan to somehow maintain the internet infrastructure for the people of Iran, maybe they could hear his message to jump up and fight now. But even he's even gone back on that. But it's the point is they can't communicate. They are stuck there and we can't reach them and they can't reach us. And I can't imagine how terrified they must be.
Tamara, I can read your comment. Yes, I just meant Canadians in the context of what someone was talking about.
The ones in Iran currently, the 3,000 in Iran.
Okay. I missed the whole chat, so I kind of missed the context of her I can have a hard time reading. I'm on my phone.
Yeah, so in the context of there being 75 who've managed to make contact, there's still over 2,900 that we just don't know where they are, how they're going.
Or they're not asking the government to get them out because they know leaving wherever they're at is more dangerous. Like,
Yeah.
they're locked
Yes.
down,
Yeah.
right? They're locked down and they know it. So they're not asking to get out, because to try and get out would be to say, "Hey, I'm here," because it's gonna be swarming with military, and I mean, let's face it, you're gonna stand out, right? There's
Well,
a
it's
really
a
good chance.
terrifying position.
Yeah. All you gotta do at that point is hope that the people around you just don't say anything about the fact you're there.
God, it's got echoes of the Second World War and Anne Frank and how she finally got captured by the neighbors. The neighbors told the Gestapo where she was. I can't imagine how terrified these people are. I mean, from a UK perspective, I don't think we've got as many nationals in Iran, but I don't know. I heard our position on the wider Persian Gulf area, but I don't know specifically. I mean, I can go into where we are in that context.
Amy, I agree. I heard, at least for I didn't hear for New Zealand, but I heard for Australia. Yeah, you're right. It's almost identical because the Prime Minister was with um, the leaders of Australia just this morning. So at least I saw it this morning.
It's terrifying. Pete said specifically this was not about democracy. Well, I don't think he needs to say that quiet part out loud. We're all quite clear that nothing they do is about democracy right now.
Well, without the reason they're giving all the reasons that they're giving, and they're not telling the truth about why this is going on, is because this is his play. And if he never says what the reason for the war is, when he wants to pull out, he might be able to save face with some of the American public.
Yeah.
I hope they don't let him up on it just because the evil nature of the other side. That's why he chose that particular target. I mean, if he had done what he really wants to do and tried to take Canada by force, he could. He could certainly come in, but, I mean, it would be years-long war because we're not afraid to fight back, if you know what I mean. We might be small in numbers, but we are mighty, and, we're just gonna fight a different kind of war, and we're gonna fight the kind of war that the US doesn't like fighting and isn't very good at.
Yeah.
So, it's gonna be like Ukraine and Canada. Literally, that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah. And just
So
picking up on Ahmed's point, I think he's referencing Pete Hegseth in
no.
relation to the embassy personnel. There, that I heard also, and I couldn't tell you where, Igor. I heard that they didn't even let the embassy personnel know to be ready, to be prepared, because they were so worried that it might leak out and spoil their plans, and the Ayatollah would get wind and he would get chance to get safely away, and they wouldn't get Israel's big target of choice, which is just appalling. But Igor, couldn't tell you exactly um what source that was, but it was certainly one of the things that I heard at the beginning, one of the more shocking things. Um, so where are we in the UK?
Mhm.
I
Yes.
think Starmer is getting a lot of unnecessary criticism. I think as a former lawyer, I think he's playing it very smart.
Mhm.
He's retaliated in the way that he does by suggesting that the special relationship is still intact and giving examples to show why that is the case. So we have acceded to American requests to use our naval bases since Iran retaliated. And I think he's very deliberate, and he doesn't make any moves without assessing it in the context, taking everything else out to say, if we do this as the UK, where do we stand?
Mhm.
And I think that's smart. And it is like you were describing, it's very, very difficult to pick a side. Which evil dictator do you hate more?
It's also important to understand that the, um to condemn one side, I absolutely condemn Donald Trump for all of it because it didn't need well, and of course Netanyahu, but
Yeah.
honestly, um, the power obviously to actually go forward and have this kind of impact comes from the United States. And the fact that a children's school was a target is a war crime. I mean, that's just appalling. That's exactly what Russia's doing to Ukraine and has been doing to them for years. That's not okay. That's not okay. If it's really your goal, regime change, whatever the heck your goal is, you don't need to take out schoolgirls,
No, exactly. And
right?
side tangent that you
And
just made me think of in terms of Ukraine and the irony that Ukraine, over their war over the last few years with Russia, have developed incredible drone targeting technology that the rest of us don't have. And now Trump is having to go cap in hand to Zelensky saying, please can we share your big super shooty things, because we've got a little drone problem going on here. And I think that's great for Zelensky. I love that. That is a point of light as far as I'm concerned. You are not taking that one away from me.
No, I'm not trying to take any points of light. Honestly, the points of light are in this discussion, right? There's 13 points of light right now because we're
Absolutely.
all here and we care enough to be here and having a real discussion that isn't easy. But I really want to stress something in all of this. And I think Mama and I think that I know that Laura not Loomer is really, really, really under the weather right now. And she's usually here with us giving an American perspective from Alabama, which is a fairly red state.
Yeah.
And, like we've had a few discussions today, but she's just really not doing well. But all of us, what I want to just talk about is the power of unity across the world. Let's talk about the power of right and wrong and unity in right and wrong across the world. What is going on right now, whether it's in Iran or whether it's the war caused in Iran, like the Iranian regime, let's call it that, or the war in Iran that's caused by two other entities, including the President of the United States. I don't want to mix that up with the people of the United States because there's
Yeah,
like a quarter of the people of the United States who actually agree with the war. And I don't think any of them wanted a war, even those quarter, because they voted for Trump. And wars make, especially in that region, are going to make oil prices go up, which means gas prices are going to go up. You're going to have huge issues with more inflation and increase in prices. Because when you create this type of situation in a system that is not meant to manage that situation, you're going to see the pressure, you're gonna squeeze in the middle and it's gonna pop out the sides. Well, the
exactly.
the people always bear the brunt of that.
And there's no point in them pointing to the people's 401ks that they love to
It's
say,
summer camp if they shoot to kill Americans for rights to assemble. Justice. It's tyranny and people are divided into blue and red. Ahmed, I agree with you.
yeah, and that's part of our underlying mission is to remove all the football scarves from around everybody's neck so we're all people.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the three of us, like Laura, and I'm sorry, Laura, I just know your voice is a mess today. But I'm pretty sure we're all united on this. I think that the people in each country need to stand together. And a lot of times it's women that pull us all together because that's sort of uh, our nature, right? Um, but I think all people, men, women, everyone needs to come together on this because we can't start thinking negatively about American people when American people are fighting and literally putting their lives on the line to stand up to this.
And that's
And
how they win, by
I know,
dividing us. And
I know.
Tamara's making some fantastic points in the comments about having a debate with somebody as to whether it was the US or Israel that dropped the bombs that killed all the school kids, like it matters. And also, is it really the point that the Ayatollah was a really bad dude? It's kind of irrelevant in the context of everything else that's going on. And that's the point. We're kind of driven to our corners of the ring so that we all come out fighting. And we're saying, no, I'm not fighting you.
So I don't know. I don't know what the answers are, but I know that we have to stand together. We can't start seeing each other as enemies ever.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom line. That's exactly how hollow men win,
Yeah.
when really we need to stand up to them and show them that we aren't hollow. In
Yeah.
fact, we are billions. We are literally billions,
Yes, we are.
if you add us all up, and we don't want any of this bullshit. So, um, I don't know what exactly needs to happen, but it needs to happen, and I think the organization for it needs to happen very quickly. No
And
Kings rallies and marches, that amazing. I mean, I'm so
amazing. Yeah.
impressed.
Everybody find your No Kings rally on March 28th. There will be one near you. And if there's not, you know what to do. Go on to No Kings or Indivisible, their websites. You'll give all the information, including how to set up your own No Kings. Yeah. So I'm going to whiz through
Yes, you
our
did.
our position, our information, where the UK is, because through the course of this conversation, through the course of you and I talking, Summer, and also the comments that are being made, I
Mhm.
almost don't want. Do you know my intention? I'll be honest, I'll put my cards on the table. My intention with tonight's podcast was to say, look what UK are doing for our citizens. We're good. And look what Canada are doing for their citizens. They're good. And look at the nasty, nasty Americans. They're not helping their people. And that just feels a little bit like I'm coming at it from the wrong angle. I'm coming at it from a position of we good, you bad. but it's not. It's just
No.
so where are we? So many of you will know that initially we weren't involved either in the UK with these strikes. We weren't informed. We didn't know what was happening. We did get involved after Iran started indiscriminately retaliating in the region, because while I understand the logic in terms of warcraft as to why Iran would do that, unfortunately, there's still people gonna die. And we don't want the people to be dying. That's a bad thing as far as the UK are concerned. And we want to do what we can to get our people out. So we do have a lot of people in the region. And they've been getting a lot of shit on social media, especially expats in Dubai and places where they may not have the same tax burden as they would back here in the UK. And as you know, I've got a really good friend in Dubai, and she's like, we don't want to come home. We're fine. We're not asking for help. Just leave us alone. But yes, so we are supporting all defensive efforts in the region. And Starmer was very clear to stress that today. We are supporting defensive efforts in the region to keep ourselves and our allies safe. In terms of what we've done military-wise, we have sent out 4 additional British Typhoon jets to Qatar to join the existing squadron, and 2 Wildcat helicopters who have the drone-busting missiles. They're off to Cyprus, I presume, to the Akrotiri base. We do have HMS Dragon, which is causing a little bone of contention. People are saying, it should have been out there already. We should have been more prepared. Well, it's kind of difficult. Yeah, even last week, even Friday, people on main credible US mainstream media and independent media were saying, at least we don't have to worry about there being a strike on Iran this weekend because Marco Rubio's due out there on Thursday. So at least we know it's not going to happen this weekend. Well, look what happened. So I think it's unfair. I think if we go in all guns blazing, that sends a very different message to we are sending measured support in a measured way to protect our interests in the region.
Mm-hmm. And to help get our people out.
Exactly. And on that, thank you for that beautiful segue. As far as we know, in the UK, 140,000 British nationals have registered their presence in the Middle East with the Foreign Office website. Isn't that phenomenal?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever our Foreign Office have done to make it possible for 140,000 citizens to say, hey, we're here, we might need a bit of help. Please, everybody else, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, US, any other countries, if you're not there already, just learn from what's going right. I think
That's right.
That's what we want to highlight. What's going right? How can we all dig in on best practice? It's not about shaming anyone. It's about making us all better. So 1,000 we've got out already. We did have a flight due to leave Oman, but because of the restrictions in the airspace, that couldn't go yesterday, but that has taken off and they're on their way home. And in total, we have repatriated about 1,000 people. So I've also got some information about the US position, because Laura, as you say, is normally our US correspondent, but has been taken out by several evil bugs, including ladybugs, which I thought was particularly mean when she's not feeling well. She's having to fight off swarms of ladybugs. The thing that shocked me most, and I don't think I'm alone here, is that the evacuation order covering 14 countries in the region, the way it was communicated to the American citizens in the region. Summer, tell our listeners what official channel did the US government use to communicate the evacuation order?
Okay, you know what? If I don't have at least 3 of you typing how the president of the United States did this. Like right now in this, and I'm gonna like my head's gonna blow up. I'm gonna actually have to pick up my phone and do a head explosion emoji. How do you think this was communicated? Anyone?
Does anybody know? But the official channels, so the UK, we've got it on our consular website. There's links so people can register their information. 14 of the nations in the Persian Gulf were declared leave now zones. How did the US government tell its citizens? Somebody knows.
Something a bird does.
I'm almost shocked.
Yes, Tamara.
Yeah. In fact, I
Yes,
don't
Tamara.
know if it was Twitter or Truth Social. I heard it was Twitter or X, as some people call it.
I'm gonna guess it was probably one and then the other.
The official channel was Twitter. Amy, yes. I am only surprised. The only shock in my whole response to Mara is the fact that it wasn't on Truth Social, where literally nobody would see it except me and Donald Trump, because we are the only people on Truth Social. And I only go there to troll Donald Trump. I was explaining the other day that my mission is to get blocked by him, but so far I'm just like this noise in his ear that he really doesn't care about. It's just like, and I'm gone. Yes. So the evacuation order was posted on Monday afternoon via Twitter, because that's what it's called, by Maura Namdar, and she's the Assistant Secretary of State for Consular Affairs. They listed the 14 affected countries, urging Americans to depart now in capital letters, using available commercial transportation. This was Monday afternoon when various local and regional airports had already been targeted by Iran. I'm not sure if they were expecting American citizens to sprout wings and fly out, but whatever commercial means are available is quite limited
You
in my
think?
understanding. Yeah, exactly. And the reason, because there are serious safety risks. No shit, Sherlock.
Mm.
It was essentially a tweet telling over 1 million people. That's how many are there. They think between at least 500,000 and possibly more than 1 million American citizens are in the region. And they tweeted to tell them to leave the area. A war zone. No
Yes.
logistics.
Yes, Ahmed.
And it got better. It got better, didn't it? Tell us about the helpline for concerned US citizens and the recorded message that they got, basically our interpretation of the recorded message. I'll tell you the actual words, but what were they essentially saying, Summer?
Well, I would say FO would be the
Yeah. Yeah. Go fuck
go.
yourself.
You
Was
better help yourself because we're not helping you.
the official hotline message is as follows. So Marco Rubio was trying to direct panicked Americans to the State Department hotline. Early reports were that they rang the number and the automated message stated, "Please do not rely on the US government for assisted departure or evacuation. There are currently no United States evacuation points. In the event of ongoing military action, Americans should shelter in place until it is safe to move about freely." Go fuck
Shelter
yourself.
in place. Yeah.
Yeah. And you were explaining to me how in some regions, well, you explained to our audience how in some regions sheltering in place is not
Okay, so
not the win that they
if
might think it is.
if you think about how unpopular Americans, Canadians, Australians, New Zealanders, anyone from the
The
Western
West.
world who is in Iran right now, where they have approximately estimated 1 million people that fight in a military style fashion. I don't know if I would describe it necessarily as the way we think of military, but the way the the U.S. government is using their military right now, perhaps. But imagine having someone have their wife or child being held at gunpoint saying, "You tell me where the Americans are."
Yeah.
Now, how long do you think it's gonna take to start getting some Americans, some Canadians, some people that come from the West to torture and kill on video and send to us to show us
Yeah.
exactly what they think of us because of this war?
So essentially, you're saying that by not having a, an exit strategy in place for the Western citizens within Iran is actually putting other Iranians in danger.
Oh, absolutely. People that are good people.
Please.
Listen, the Iranian people are some of very well educated, well cultured people. They're not ignorant. I mean, we really don't need to have any of those stereotypes because they
No.
don't exist. But they do live under a regime that is brutal and absolute brutal. There's there. I don't know how to explain it to you, but um, innocent people are gonna die to hunt down people from the West, let's just put it that way.
That's so
And then innocent people from the West are likely going to be tortured as well. I mean, that's just how that they work. The Ayatollah's son is said to be getting the I don't know what to call it, the
green light.
crown, whatever it is that they call themselves. I really try not to give it too much, credit or credibility, so I try to make up funny names because I really wanna undermine evil.
I know, I know. And Tamara points out, wouldn't that be a great way of removing a few million voters or a million voters? And the thing is, whether Tamara's saying that kind of tongue in cheek or not, in this context, in this
You
environment,
shouldn't.
in this dystopia that we're living in, it's easily possible.
Listen, history says that we have, and I say we like Canadians because I'm speaking from my perspective on this. We have the United States has many countries have imprisoned with no due process people from specific countries or regions for nothing more than being people from those regions during a time of war. Well, interesting enough, he started a war. I don't know how many people from the Middle East vote in the United States of America. I don't know how many of them would be Democratic or how many of them would be Republican, but it'd be really interesting to see what those warehouses are filled with next week and the week after and the week after that.
I don't even want to go there. I don't even
So
want to go there.
when I say we have to kind of stick together on this is evil and I mean the things that are going on, there is no justification for at this point. There was no intelligence that was coming in that would have been this red alarm. Um,
Absolutely. And
this
so
is
far, 9,000, that's all. 9,000 Americans have managed to flee the region under their own steam, making their own arrangements, taking matters into their own hands. They said, why, when asked why? Because the government simply wasn't helping.
Amy, I read your point. Trump's MO is to create a problem, then solve it, and look like the bad guy while blaming it on someone else. What if he's trying to outshine the Biden's hostage returns? And I absolutely
Oh,
understand that
God.
is precisely the way he thinks. Whether
Yeah.
that is the one thing that he will hang on to or do or whatever at the end of this or not, I have no idea. But that is exactly how he thinks.
Yeah. And she points out that Levitt said Trump had a feeling. I saw that. I think
Yeah, I saw that
that
too.
was the press conference that Laura was watching when we were all together on the Discord server the other day, and she was literally smashing up her computer because the woman was driving her mad. Yeah, Trump had a feeling based on facts, though. It may have
Credible
been a
facts.
feeling, but it was based on facts. I mean, made up facts.
I'm not exactly sure that they know what a fact is.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
exactly.
when you lie that much, I mean, you might hit the truth every now and then just by accident, right?
Yes, and a British radio presenter that we were discussing earlier because we both have enjoy following him and listening to him. His name's just gone out of my head. James, what's his name? somebody tell me, LBC, kind of left wing, does the 10 a.m. show.
Mhm.
James
Yeah, we just O'Brien. Is it O'Brien?
O'Brien. James O'Brien.
I
Yes.
got it this time.
Yay, go you. Yes. And now I've completely forgotten what we were talking about.
Why they're giving so many different reasons.
No.
Again, monkeys with a football.
Yeah. No, it's gone. It's gone. Never mind. No, it was something that he says in general. Never mind. Let's focus on closing this particular circle today. In terms of what Congress is saying, they are, at least on the Democratic side, they are saying something. I don't know how effective that is. And as I say, we'll have to consult with Laura when she's back on the mend as to how, well, you guys in the chat, how do you feel your congressmen and women are doing in response to this war? Are they doing a good job? Are they just tutting loudly and waving a finger? Yeah. 15 minutes to Glenn. Perfect. Well, Senator Andy Kim, who I've got a lot of time for, he's a Democrat. He's called it out by saying it's a clear sign of zero strategy and planning. And I don't think anybody could argue with that. And Chris
Okay.
Murphy, who's also been very outspoken.
I just have to say about that. The strategy is not under the guise of anything American or lawful or constitutional, but there is a strategy.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, you're
It's
absolutely right.
nuts. It's madness.
Yeah,
But there is a strategy.
it's not a military strategy. It's
No.
much deeper and more insidious than that. So Chris Murphy said the State Department is forcing everyone to immediately leave the region, but also refusing to help people leave the region. Incompetence everywhere. And I think there is an awful lot of incompetence in this administration.
Thank God.
And they've got evil underlying plans. It's one of those
I thank God for their incompetence every single day, because if they were, this is what I'm worried about with the new DHS guy. Okay,
exactly.
exactly, because now you're gonna put in some serious competence that has the chops to kinda do things differently than this stupid approach that was taken intentionally to gain the attention, and then put someone to take the attention away while in the background the bad things are happening, right?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I
Mm.
describe it. It's a bit like how I think of worrying. Worrying for me is like being in a rocking chair. You feel like you're doing something, but you're not really getting anywhere. And that to me is the Trump administration at the moment. They make lots of noise, but are they really doing anything as an administration? I mean, as a money making grift, I think they're exceptional. I mean, they are top drawer, but as an administration, there's work could be done. But thank you so much, Summer, for your perspective from the Canadian point of view and for helping me interpret what's going on in the region, in the US. I mean, literally, they are your troublesome neighbours. So you feel it a lot more keenly than we do in the UK. And thank you so much to everybody in the chat. Oh, that's insane, Amy. Apparently, George Conway posted 27% approval for this war, 29%.
For
This
Vietnam.
war is less popular
Than the least
than
popular
Vietnam.
war in history, yes.
That's insane. That is insane.
And
Oh my goodness.
generally speaking, as wars continue, it goes down.
Exactly. We're at this point. We're at the beginning when
At
people
the
get
hurrah!
a little bit excited. Yeah. Come on, go kill the bad guys. And already it's hated. Oh, Lord above.
That's because he promised not to do it, and then he did it. Like, that was probably a really dumb, impulse on his part.
Exactly. And Tamara, just for your information, this all started, our little brainchild. We were talking about a marijuana mercy mission starting on the East Coast. So I'll fly over and I'll just start picking up all Glenn's groupies, and we're going to take the train across the middle so that we don't have to worry about driving or getting caught with marijuana on airplanes. And we're going to take the train and just grab all of you as we go across. And then we're going to end up with Summer in Canada. But we are totally happy to do a big loop up to grab you and bring
Yeah.
you back down. So
Oh, hell
don't
yeah.
worry, you're on the list. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for being here. I would really like to finish in the usual way. And what I've done today is slightly adapted one of the prayers that we use in Alcoholics Anonymous, because I'm a recovered alcoholic of 21 years sobriety, and it's really important to me. It's where I get a lot of my strength from and where I found my higher power. So, yeah, we'll pick you all up. Just, let us know where you are. Don't lose touch. And when we start the mission, the evacuation plan for democratic voters, we'll pick you all up. Don't worry.
Hey, listen,
Anyone who,
Canada's a big country, man. We got space, and if you're good peoples, we want you.
yeah, exactly. We can set up our own little community. Not like Jonestown. That was a bad one. But this will be a good one with love and kindness. So, we normally finish with a prayer or a moment of contemplation. And as I say, there's a prayer in Alcoholics Anonymous, which is we call the pledge the I am responsible. And it occurred to me while we were talking that it can be adapted quite beautifully for our situation. So if you'd all like to take a moment or just say bye-bye, and if this is not your thing, that's totally fine too. For those of you who do have a faith, a spiritual higher power, if you could just get in a space where you're in commune with that higher power and just think about these words.
Mhm.
I am responsible. When anyone, anywhere reaches out for help, I want my hand to be there, and for that, I am responsible. Amen.
Amen.
Let's keep each other safe. Let's keep each other talking. Let's keep each other loving. Because while we are all loving each other, it's very hard to hate each other. And if I'm misinterpreting how Americans feel, you Americans in the chat can tell me.
Yes.
And the same with Canadians. And the more nationalities, the more perspectives we have in this group, the better we're going to understand each other. And through that understanding comes the love and the humanity that you've been talking to me about all along, Summer. And I thank you for that.
All right, people, take care of you, because without you, we can't help, right? You can't do nothing. So if you take care of you, if everybody on earth just took care of themselves, could you imagine what kind of world it would be? So please, please take care of you. And then together we can help take care of others, right? We can stand up for what's going wrong.
Absolutely. Get those oxygen masks on first, everybody. And thank you so much for our new guest, Ahmed. It's been lovely to have you, and thank you for engaging. And I'm afraid, because it's nearly time for Glenn, so with that, the cafe is now closed. Good night, everyone.
Night, everyone.
It won't close. There we go.